Good morning, folks. Just as we start out this morning, could I encourage you, if you don't already have a Bible beside you, pause your TV, your device, and grab a Bible. Thank you. One of the phrases I found myself using most often these 6 months is to say that we're living through weird times. We really have found ourselves in a strange place. For a few months there, our house felt like a bit like a prison or a school or a hotel or a combination of all of these things. Once the first lockdown had eased a little bit, I queued for nearly an hour in the B&Q car park just to enter the building. And now we can't really go anywhere, be with each other or in any public space without wearing a mask. So in September of 2020, we're doing things that we quite simply couldn't have imagined doing even 12 months ago. This is a strange place that we find ourselves in. I don't mean to unsettle you any further than you already have been unsettled by the short-term strangeness that comes with coronavirus restrictions. But we had some other strange things going on even before coronavirus. Do you remember Brexit? All that endless politicking to try and establish the UK's place outside of the EU. That's still ongoing. Over the last couple of years, those of us who are trying to follow Jesus, who are trying to take God at his word, we've been struggling with some ethical shifts in our own society here in Northern Ireland. Same-sex marriage has been introduced. Abortion has been legalised for the first time. So we're watching as our society cuts itself loose from its Christian heritage right before our eyes. So as disciples of Jesus Christ living in Belfast in 2020, we have all sorts of reasons to say that this is a strange place that we find ourselves in. This morning we're going to start a new Bible teaching series, and it's one that's going to run right through the autumn. It's from the Old Testament, takes the form of a story, the story of one man's life. But before I come to that one man, I want you to notice the place. This man's story starts in a strange place. If you look at your Bible, chapter 11 of Genesis, you'll see there in verses 10 to 26 a written account of a family tree. It's the family of Shem, and you might remember him from Sunday school, one of the 3 sons of Noah. Anyway, we're given Shem's family tree right down to a guy called Terah, verse 26. And we're told that Terah had 3 sons. In verse 28, we learn that Terah's extended family is living in a place called Ur of the Chaldeans. What do you know about Ur of the Chaldeans? Not much? That's okay. Let me tell you a wee bit about Ur of the Chaldeans. It's actually one of the best documented societies of its time. Around about 5 millennia ago, a human hand first carved a written word. Boom. History is born. That is the recorded story of humanity. It happened in a land called Sumer, probably in a warehouse in a place called Uruk. We could call Uruk a city, maybe one of the first places worthy of the name. We're talking modern day Iraq. The written word, written there in Uruk, was probably invented for accounting. How else do you keep a track of these growing quantities of goods that you're starting to store and to trade? The written word, when it came, changed human life forever. It enabled fantastic feats of information retrieval and storage. By the way, the computer is nothing on the invention of writing. The written word enabled all sorts of new forms of communication. This one step forward for humanity soon led to countless other steps forward, other developments, including wheeled transport, sailing ships, metallurgy, oven-baked pottery. So with the invention of the written word and with these other contemporary developments of the same period, man was up and running as a technological society. Uruk and its neighbouring city of Ur, right there in Sumer, were right at the heart of this birth of civilization. Ur of the Chaldeans features in our story because Terah's there. Terah lives there. Terah's a Shemite. That means he's a nomadic descendant of Shem. These Sumerian cities with their burgeoning technology and their grand buildings, they must have seemed very strange to these cattle-herding Shemites. It's like taking somebody, I think, maybe from Culibaki, someone who's lived there all their lives, and dropping them into Canary Wharf. For Terah, Ur of the Chaldeans was a very strange place indeed. But it wasn't just strange in terms of its technology, its buildings, and its growing civilization. It was strange for deeper, more profound reasons too. Reasons of the heart and of the soul. Reasons to do with God and the gods. For anyone with any memory of the God of Noah, Ur of the Chaldeans would have been a very strange place indeed. You see, the city of the moon stood over the city of, the temple of the moon, I should say, stood over the city of Ur, towered high into the sky. It was a center for pagan worship, a place where people tried to reach the heavens in order to connect with the gods. If you know your Bible, then this description of Ur is probably ringing a bell with you. That's right. The Tower of Babel, whose story is told in the first half of this chapter, Genesis 11. So Terah is a descendant of Abraham, who's worshipping the one true and living God, but he's found himself living in Ur of the Chaldeans, a city renowned for its technology and its civilization, but also for its pagan worship. I think we can safely say that our story starts in a strange place. Folks, more than ever before in my time as a minister, I've sensed that people are struggling in this strange place that we find ourselves in today. Many people are struggling in a general kind of a way. We tolerated the strange world that we were landed into in the springtime, maybe even enjoyed aspects of it for a few months. But now, 6 months in, we're suffering all sorts of COVID fatigue. For some of us, the stakes are higher. Lockdown has been messing with our mental health. These strange circumstances have stirred our underlying anxieties. We really are struggling. And then, for all of us, there's our walk with God. The novelty of YouTube church, that's long worn off. We're struggling, many of us, to follow Jesus without the rhythm of regular face-to-face public worship. We didn't realize how important it was until it was taken from us. And truth be told, we're drifting. Some of us have drifted off and we won't even hear this message. We need someone to reach out and to invite us back. For some people watching today, this season has highlighted a huge hole in your life. You've realized that you never had God in the first place. You live in a culture that's busy with its own technology, with its own getting ahead, with its own busyness and self-importance. A culture that worships anything and nothing at all. But at this moment in your life, when you've needed a rock to stand on, there was nothing there. You've realized that you simply don't have the resources that you need to get through a time like this. Dear friends, whatever strange place you find yourself in, please hold on. Keep listening. We're going to see God breaking in to this strange place. Before we do that, we're going to pause and sing together the song, What Gift of Grace is Jesus My Redeemer?